right, I got my coat, got my hat, I'm ready to go.
All right, navigators, let's see where the portal opens up today.
Where are we? A lake?
But not just any lake. It's Lake Champlain.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been reading all about it in the book Champlain the Silent One by Kate Messner. You see, in the book, their tribe, they call this one member the Silent One because he hasn't spoken a word since his uncle was killed by the Iroquois tribe. But then, in 1609, there's some new languages echoing through the woods. Samuel de Champlain and his Frenchmen speak of friendship and peace with the Innu tribe, and they promise to help them in their fight against the Iroquois. Now, Silent One joins the war party. He has to see if he can find his voice and his spirit again.
Wow, that book sounds really, really interesting.
It's a great read.
But did the Innu win? Did they...
I'm not going to tell you who won. You have to read the book.
Of course, I should have known that. But I got two questions. One, could you tell me more about the Samuel de Champlain guy? And two, why did he want to help them?
Sure. Samuel de Champlain was a French explorer who began exploring North America in 1603 with his uncle, Francois Gravé Dupont. In 1608, he established a permanent French settlement that is now Quebec City. But Champlain didn't want to just settle in one place. He wanted to explore. He was searching for two things: a water route across North America to the Pacific Ocean, and for beaver, both of which would bring great wealth to his home country of France. In 1609, he headed out onto the lake that now sits between Quebec, New York, and Vermont. The lake we now know as Lake Champlain.
Okay, well, that first thing you said made total sense. I know a lot about explorers. I know that they came from Europe because they wanted to find a water route to Asia to get the spices and silks and the other foreign goods that they couldn't get. And then they figured out that North America was in the way. So they had to find a way through North America.
Correct.
So he was probably looking for that. That makes all making sense to me. The thing that doesn't make sense is that second part about the beavers.
Oh, yeah. All right, so let me put it to you this way. You have an iPhone, right?
Yep.
Okay. And people either have an iPhone like you or really want them. They're kind of all the rage, wouldn't you say?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Europe in the 1600s, beaver fur hats were just like iPhones. Everybody wanted one, all right?
Okay.
You weren't somebody unless you had a beaver fur hat. Which leads us to the answer to your second question. Why would Champlain want to help the natives? Well, it's because they were the expert beaver trappers. This was their land, after all, and he wanted to make alliances with them to say, hey, you just want to trade with us, right? And he agreed to help them in battle if they would agree.
So why did the tribes need so much help?
Well, the French weren't the only ones exploring North America. The British and the Dutch were there too. And the British were working with the Iroquois tribe. And they wanted as much beaver as they could get too. So there was many battles over the different lands. And it eventually leads to all-out war.
Okay, so why did the natives, though, want to kill so many poor beavers to help the Europeans out?
That's a good question. I mean, we know Native Americans really respected the earth and only took what they needed. Now it seems like they're killing a lot of beavers, right? Just for the Native American, just for the Europeans.
Right.
Well, two reasons.
Okay.
The world was changing and the Native Americans knew it. There's all these new people around them, right, coming. And they need to be able to protect themselves. One of the things that they could trade for was guns. Now, the other thing was even smaller items like steel knives and copper pots made life easier for the Native Americans, and they knew they had something to trade for them, the beaver.
Oh, well then that makes a lot of sense. So, like, the Frenchmen gave the natives one gun, and then the Frenchmen got one beaver from the natives, and then they were able to make that one beaver into one hat?
not quite.
Oh.
We said that, beaver was a really big deal, but so were guns. I mean, they had to be made all the way back in Europe by a gunsmith, right, and then shipped all the way across the Atlantic Ocean. So you could actually get 11 beavers for one gun.
Oh.
But it's not like there was tons of guns around, right? So they had to trade other things, which leads me to the mountain to climb for this week. Navigators, you're going to pretend that you have a family of 4, and you need to figure out a way for you and your family to all get beaver fur hats. I mean, they are all the rage. You cannot be seen without one. So, below, in the Seeking the Peak resources, you're going to find some actual trading documents to show you just how you can make this happen.
Good luck, navigators, and remember, want those hats.